Hi there. In this video, we're going to take a sample set of data and we're going to look at how IB wants us to go ahead and propagate some of these errors. Now, I think you know pretty well how to graph things and how to use data, but the errors are a problem. So I want to go a few techniques. As you can see on the screen here, I have just some sample data. This doesn't represent any great experiment. I just made up some data, and I want to walk through a couple of ways of manipulating the data and how we're going to deal with the uncertainty. The first thing we're going to do is, let's say as you can see here, I have 3 times, time 1, 2, and 3. Let's say I want to go ahead and find the sum of the times. So sum of times, the unit of course is seconds. And I can use Excel to easily find the sum, hit equals, type in sum, and just select the numbers I want to find the sum of. Hit enter. And then I can drag that down, and I can see I have sums here. But I want to know the uncertainty. I want to know how sure am I of this number. Well, to do that, as you can see on the screen, we have an equation from the data booklet. And this says that if you add 2 numbers, or even subtract 2 numbers, that in order to find the total uncertainty, all you need to do is add the uncertainties. In this case, the uncertainty for all the times is 0.05. Now, to make my life easier, I'm going to go ahead and just type all these uncertainties on top. Now, this is not something I'm going to put in any kind of report. This is just going to help me do some math with Excel. Now, to find the uncertainties, I just need to add them up. So I'm going to this right-hand column, I'm just going to hit equals, and then I'll just add up all 3 uncertainties. That plus that plus that. Now, when I go ahead and drag this down, you'll see there is a little bit of an issue. And that issue is when I drag the equation down, the thing that's adding up changes. Well, I don't want to add those text values together. So what I'll do is delete all that. I want to make sure all these values, B1, C1, and D1 stay the same. The thing that's changing is as I drag it down, the 1 is changing to a 2. So I'm just going to place $ signs in front of the 1s. That's going to keep the 1 the way it is. No matter what I do, it'll always be a 1. The B, C, and D could change, but in this case, that's not an issue. So I drag that down, and as we would imagine, the uncertainty is the same for all of them. So I'll go ahead and pick the lowest uncertainty, or the highest, which is 0.15. Copy this. Now, IB only wants 1 digit for uncertainty. That's not the best way of going about things, but that's the way we're doing. So let's go ahead and hit 0.2 seconds. Now that I've done that, I need to make sure that all my values have their last digit in the same place as the uncertainty. That's the 10th place. So I'll right-click, Format Cells, and pick a number with 1 decimal place. Now this is the Mac version of Excel. Things are in slightly different places in Windows, but it shouldn't be a big deal. And so now we have this nice little new column. This will go my process data column. That's adding and subtracting. Now let's imagine I want to go ahead and find the average. Let's say I want to find the average time. I'll type in average time, and that is in seconds. And of course we know how to find the average time easily. Equals average of all these things. Okay, and you can simply drag that down, and that ends up being quite easy. Of course, to find the uncertainty for the average there, we're going to use a different technique. See, when you're finding the average, easiest way to find the uncertainty is take your maximum value. In this case, that would be, let's use a better example. In this case, you'd be 0.21. Subtract that from your minimum sample, 0.18, and divide by 2. That'll get you a good uncertainty for finding the average. Now, as you can see, the minimum maximum is going to be in different places every time. We can't set a cell and copy it down, so we're going to set up this formula. I'm going to say equals. Now, I got to think what I want to do. I want to take the maximum value of these 3, and I want to subtract the minimum value of these 3, and then divide by 2. So, we'll start with our open parentheses. I'll type in minimum. Min. And I'm going to select these 3 numbers. What's going to happen is it's going to replace min of this range with the smallest numbers in that range. Close parentheses. And I'm going to sorry, should be max of these range. I could go in and edit that, but I'm not going to. Minus the minimum of this range. And then I'll go ahead, close that parenthesis, and divide by 2. I can go ahead and take my little drag down, drag it all the way down, and we see that for each term, we're taking the maximum of that range minus the minimum divided by 2. I'm going to select the highest value. It looks like the highest value is going to be 0.03, and I will go ahead and place that in here for the average time. 0.03 seconds is our uncertainty. Go ahead and just clear that out. There you go. Delete. Go away. There you go. 0.03 is our uncertainty. 0.03 is our uncertainty. So we'll go ahead and plug that in. Okay. And if I can type that correctly, that'd be nice. All right. So as you can see, we now have the average and the sum of the times. In the next video, we're going to take a look at how to multiply, and we're going to start taking a look at how to put together this data in different ways.